Hi, it's Steve. Today we'd like to show you how to change the lower hinge pin on your refrigerator. It's a really easy repair. Let me show you how we do it. So to do this repair, we simply need to pull the refrigerator slightly forward and then we can get started. Now our next step will be to remove the screw that secures that hinge cover to the hinge. It's typically held in place with a number 2 Phillips screw. Simply remove that. We can lift that hinge cap off and we'll just set it aside. And now we can remove the 3 mounting bolts for that top hinge. Those are typically a 5/16 hex head bolt. And be sure to support that door as you remove the last bolt, or have somebody else support it for you. You can lift the hinge out of the door. And now we're ready to lift the whole door assembly off of the bottom hinge. And then we'll just temporarily set that aside. Now next we'll lift off the door closer. And again, we'll just set that aside. And we can unthread the center hinge. Discard the old one. Now we'll thread the new hinge pin in by hand to make sure that we don't get it cross-threaded. And then tighten it down. Now next we need to put the door closure back on. You'll note that there's a locating pin on that to match a hole in the hinge bracket. So line that up until it's sitting flush. And now we're ready to put the door back on. Once it's sitting on that hinge pin, we'll just pivot it into place. Now we'll need to have somebody hold that against the cabinet for you until you can get that upper hinge in place. So we'll start one of those hinge screws by hand to make sure that it doesn't go in cross-threaded. You may need to move the door back and forth till you get all 3 screws started. And once we've done that, we'll go ahead and tighten them up some. We won't tighten these bolts yet. We'll next need to check the alignment of the door to make sure that it's flush with the side of the cabinet, and also that the gap between the bottom of the fresh food door and the freezer door is even from side to side. And to do that, you may need to maneuver that hinge left or right until we have it straight. Once we've done that, we'll go ahead and tighten those screws. And now we're ready to put the hinge cap back on. Now we're ready to put the hinge cap back on. Be sure to place the schematic into the opening on the bottom of that hinge cap. Slide it back into place. And tighten the screw down. Now that we have the door and the top hinge cap back on, our repair is complete.